Sherwin Carter is a single mother who lives in a small neighborhood, sometimes facing challenges from racism. Not only is she a loving mother to her son, Linus, but also a karate master who has always believed that true strength comes from a peaceful soul. It was a peaceful afternoon, and Sherwin and Linus were shopping together in a small neighborhood store. Linus excitedly chose his favorite items, and Sherwin stood beside him, his eyes tenderly watching his son. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed when Officer Alex walked in. He, with cold eyes and an overbearing look, walked straight towards the mother and daughter. "You, present your papers immediately," Alex said, his tone menacing. Sherwin was stunned. In an instant, all eyes in the store fell on her. Her heart was beating fast, but her face remained calm. Sherwin clearly felt the injustice, not only in his words but also in Alex's eyes. A look of contempt. Linus, even though he was just a boy, realized something was wrong. He quickly pulled out his phone and started filming. "Mom, I'll record it all," he whispered. Sherwin looked at his son, feeling the worry in his eyes. She nodded gently as if to say, "I will protect you, and I am also protecting you." "Officer, I don't understand why you're asking me to show my papers." "I didn't do anything wrong," Sherwin said, his voice calm but determined. She clearly felt the tension that was enveloping, but tried to stay calm, because she knew that a wrong reaction could lead to serious consequences. Alex got closer, his eyes colder. "You don't need to understand. Do as I say, or you'll regret it," he shouted, causing some of the people around him to step back. Linus held her mother's hand tightly, as if to give her more strength. Sherwin squeezed her son's hand lightly. Her gaze did not leave Alex. Inside her heart was a chaotic emotion: fear, anger, and determination. She knew that she was not only standing up for herself, but also for Linus, for all those who had been treated unfairly. "If we don't face it, the injustice will never stop," she told herself. Passers-by began to gather when they saw Alex exerting pressure. At first, they just stood from a distance, their expressions curious and worried. However, when they realized the injustice in Officer Alex's behavior, many people began to film the incident. Whispers spread, "It's unbelievable. He doesn't have the right to do that." Luna, a woman known in the community for her courage and willingness to speak up for right, stepped out of the crowd. In a clear voice, she declared, "Everyone, we can't stand still and watch this happen. Show that we support her." Luna's courage is like a fire that lights up people's spirits. A man standing nearby nodded and walked forward, shouting, "We're here to witness. You're not alone." Voices of sympathy rang out from many sides. Others called the media and human rights organizations to report the incident. As the crowd grew, Alex began to show his confusion. The pressure from the eyes of dozens of people filming and speaking out in support of Sherwin made him no longer retain the same confidence as he did at the beginning. The crowd was not merely observing, but also creating a wall of mental protection for Sherwin and Linus. Luna walked up to Sherwin and said softly, "You don't need to be afraid. We will stand by you." Linus, seeing the solidarity from the community, felt his heart filled with hope. He smiled, his eyes lit up when he looked at his mother. "Mom, everyone is on our side," he whispered, as if to remind Sherwin that she wasn't alone. As the crowd grew larger, Officer Alex became impatient. The condemnation from the surroundings and the pressured eyes of the cameraman made him even more angry. "Shut up, everyone," he shouted, his face flushed, his hands clutching the police baton as if he wanted to use it to suppress the situation. Sherwin stood still, his eyes calm but full of vigilance. She clearly felt the danger in front of her, but did not tremble at all. The years of karate training not only taught her self-defense skills, but also taught her how to stay calm during the most stressful moments. "You're pushing your limits, officer," she said, her voice calm but firm. Alex stepped forward, holding his stick high. "You are not allowed to argue with orders," he shouted, and in an instant, the stick plunged down with great force. Sherwin dodged quickly to the side, his eagle-sharp eyes locked on his every move. One hand blocked the blow, the other quickly pushed the stick to the side, causing Alex to stagger. The surrounding crowd shouted in surprise, mixed with excitement. Alex became even angrier, trying to attack again. But this time, Sherwin wasn't just defensive. With a lightning-fast turn, she swept her legs to knock him out. The sound of the stick falling to the ground and shouting, "Kong!" rang out in the middle of the silent space for a moment. Sherwin stood firm, her eyes firmly as if to affirm that she would not let anyone trample on her and her son's rights. Linus, standing from a distance, shouted, "Mom, be careful." The boy looked at his mother with eyes that were both worried and proud. He couldn't believe that Sherwin, his gentle mother, was confronting him so tenaciously. Alex staggered to his feet, but lost his confidence. He took a step back, his eyes looking around awkwardly. The crowd was no longer afraid. Instead, there was unrelenting support for Sherwin. Shouts, "She's doing it right. We're on her side," echoed everywhere. Luna took a step forward, blocking between Alex and Sherwin. "You don't have a choice, Alex. His behavior has been documented, and we will all testify," she declared. Alex lowered his face, realizing that he had failed, not only in the physical confrontation but also mentally. Sherwin, still calm, bent down to pick up the stick and set it aside, as if to say that violence is not the way to solve the problem. She turned to look at Linus, her eyes gentle but full of power. "I promise to protect you, Linus. I will always do it." The crowd exploded in cheers and applause. This confrontation was not only Sherwin's victory, but also a symbol of courage and the strength of unity in the fight against injustice. The incident quickly spread, attracting the attention of the media and human rights protection groups. Alex was suspended, and Officer Davis, an honest colleague, spoke up to protect Sherwin. The community held a ceremony honoring Sherwin as a symbol of resilience. She became an example of unjust resistance and empowerment of women in disadvantaged communities. Linus, looking up at Sherwin, said, "You are not only my hero, but the hero of all of us." The event that happened to Sherwin was not just a personal shock, but a profoundly changing event in her soul. Initially, she was just a simple woman, living a normal life with her family. But when pain and injustice hit, Sherwin couldn't stand still. Sadness, anger, and a sense of helplessness crept through her. But it was these same emotions that turned into a powerful source of strength. Sherwin knew that she couldn't go back to her old life, that she couldn't let what happened be meaningless. She began to fight not only for herself but also for a fairer world. The power of peace movement is the result of a process of self-discovery and pain. Sherwin gradually realized that there was nothing more precious than calmness and solidarity in the struggle against injustice. She is acutely aware that sharing her story not only helps her heal, but can also inspire others, helping them find strength in themselves. Sherwin led the movement not only with theory, but with a heart full of perseverance. Every word she said, every meeting she participated in carried a strong emotion, not of someone who was taking revenge, but of someone who was dreaming of another world where people did not have to suffer injustice like she had been. Sherwin began to realize that change doesn't come from great actions but from the small steps of each person in the community. Linus, her son, despite his young age, has always seen the hidden power in his mother. He learned from his mother that, even as a child, he could still do great things. Linus's group meetings are not only a place for young people to exchange ideas, but also a place for him to show his great maturity. He is no longer just an innocent child but a young warrior with solid ideals. Under pressure from the community, those in law enforcement finally have to face the truth. This did not bring complete satisfaction to Sherwin, but it was an important step, a recognition for her tireless efforts. She didn't see it as revenge, but as part of the long journey she and the others had embarked on. The feeling of justice being done eased her heart's pain, but it also brought a strange sense of emptiness. Sherwin wondered if this would be enough, if it would be possible to completely erase the wounds that the system had inflicted. Sherwin's story has inspired so many people, but deep down in her heart, it's not just a satisfaction but a greater challenge. Sherwin couldn't stop, because she knew that the road ahead was still very long. When she stood in front of the crowd, her speech was not just words of encouragement, but an affirmation of the belief that we ourselves can make a difference. But deep down, Sherwin still clearly feels that this journey is not only for the past but also for future generations. Linus, even though she was her son, accompanied his mother on this path. From an innocent child, he became a leader of the movement, full of passion and perseverance. As she looked at him, Sherwin realized that what she did not only affected her, but also left a deep mark on the next generation. Sherwin eventually understood that, as small as what she did may seem, every action was a building block that laid the foundation for a better world. And while she may not see all the results right away, she believes the change started with herself and those around her. She said in her speech, "We are not just fighting for today. We fight for tomorrow, for our children and grandchildren, and for a better world." These words were not just words, but the flow of her soul, a mother, a soldier, and a hope.